Welcome ladies and gentlemen. In today's video we will talk about essentials, nice things to have with regards to simple modifications and accessories for your 2024 Tesla Model 3. Some of it might be specific to the performance. As an example, the front bumper on the performance is a little bit different compared to the standard models then, so if you are doing PPF, obviously it needs to cater for that. But in general, we will talk about things that I do think are essential and some of the things that I think are nice to have. And the reason for this video then is because myself, I am a first-time Tesla owner, so I was looking this stuff up to see what is needed or not, and so on and so on. Some of it I knew I wanted to have, such as the PPF, and also I have seen questions on Facebook and forums. What do I need to prepare before I get my car, or what accessories should I get, what is essential? That's the intention of today's video. I will link down to the products in the description box below so you can have a look for yourself. I'm not saying you should buy anything, it's just a guidance to help you out trying to figure out what you need to get for your Tesla Model 3 then. And we will work our way from the exterior and then work our way into the interior and see what things I have on my car, and then we will wrap the video with some honorable mentions with regards to things I don't have or potentially will get. If you did find today's video informational, give it a thumbs up, and also do remember to subscribe for future Tesla content, car reviews and modifications, or tech stuff in general. But with that said, let's have a look from an exterior point of view and work our way towards the interior. Starting off with the exterior and the appearance, I have not done that much to my car, or barely anything. The only thing I have done is to debadge it because I really do hate chrome. So I did remove the badges. It's quite a simple process. You need a heat gun or a hairdryer, fishing line and some glue gun, and you're all set more or less. But there are aftermarket badges you can get that are matte black or gloss black or any other color for that matter. But I do think the car looks much cleaner without the badges. And that's the only thing I have done with regards to the appearance of the car. Now let's talk a little bit about the things that I think are essential or good to have with regards to protecting your car, starting off with paint protection film. I do have a separate video on that. I will link it up above or in the description box below. But on my car, I do have Expel Ultimate Extended Kit. So the extended kit is the full front, meaning the front bumper, headlights, hood, the front fenders. We do have the rocker panels, lower portions of the door. We do have the side view mirrors. We do have the A-pillars. We do have the side seals. We do have a portion behind the rear wheels on the rear bumper, and also we do have a strip on the trunk opening as well to protect that area. I'm not saying you should do all of that, but that is something to consider because the paint on the Tesla are thin. If you're restricted with funds, I would do the rocker panels, lower portions of the door, and also at least some areas on the fenders, because your own car's tires will then spit a lot of gravel, debris and stuff all the time onto those areas. Obviously hood and such, you can minimize the risk by keeping your distance to the cars in front of you, but obviously over time you will get rock chips on those areas as well. The second thing I want to cover with regards to protection is a aftermarket set of mud flaps. In some regions, Sweden as an example, we did get OEM mud flaps on the front, but they are not good at all. There's a bunch of debris collecting behind them. I'll show you how mine looked after 2,500 kilometers. So I did throw those out and got myself aftermarket ones, front and rear. What is important to think of is to get a kit where you do get PPF strips that will go behind the mud flaps before installing them. The reason for that is no matter what mud flap, there will always be debris behind the mud flaps that will nudge your paint and potentially will have rust problems and so on. So that is important to think of. If you do get a kit where you do not get any PPF film, do get some sort of protection behind those mud flaps. Potentially there are some PPF strips which you can buy on Amazon separately, which you can apply before applying the mud flaps. The third thing with regards to protection that I have on my car is pre-cut films that go around the door handles. And as you know, the door handles are recessed. Small children, nails, people who don't care about how they open the door. These pre-cut films then prevent the area around the door handles and actually the door handles themselves with regards to getting scratches or smudges, etc. Specifically things that do show on darker colored cars such as mine, black cars, or even the ultra red. The installation process is very straightforward. It took me maybe 15 minutes. Obviously the car needs to be clean before you do apply the PPF film, but in my opinion it's a good compromise minimize. Obviously you will see an edge on that area because it's not covering the whole door and just a portion of it, but depending on the lighting and also the angle, you will not even see that it's there. And also it's a quite inexpensive modification to do. The fourth thing I want to cover with regards to protection is to apply a ceramic coating, a sealant or a wax. On my car I have applied ceramic coating as a DIY. It's not the first car. I have done a bunch of our cars before. It is not rocket science. It's just that it takes some planning, and obviously it will take some time to do, a larger portion of a weekend if you want to do it properly. I will have a separate video on applying ceramic coating on my Tesla Model 3 then coming, and so stay tuned for that. However, with regards to a sealant or a wax or a ceramic coating, they more or less do the same thing, but the longevity of the ceramic coating will give you a base protection for a much longer time compared to, let's say, a spray-on sealant, which you need to do every month or so. Obviously, if you do not have the means or the time or the possibility to apply a ceramic coating yourself, you can have a professional do it, but obviously that will cost a bunch more money. And the reason why we do apply a ceramic coating or a sealant or a wax is to protect the paint of the car to the extent possible. We will minimize the risk of things etching into the clear coat, such as bird poo or tree sap or bugs, etc. Obviously, it will not fully protect it, and also it will not protect the car mechanically, meaning if you do get a rock and only having ceramic coating, obviously you will damage your paint. And with that said, you can apply ceramic coating on top of paint protection films to have a full coverage. The fifth and one inexpensive thing that I did get for my, we could say, the exterior and from a protection point of view, are these lifting pucks. So they are inserted into pre-drilled holes in your frame, and they go in there and get stuck there because of these O-rings. And the reason for why we want to have these type of pucks is because we know that the car is being lifted up properly on the lifting points appointed by Tesla on where to actually lift the car, so we don't damage the frame or the battery pack, etc. Then obviously you can use other type of lifting pucks and so on, or real pucks for that matter, but I think these are very inexpensive and good to have, and you can have them in your car. So when you go to a shop, you can just insert these and say, or tell them to insert them before they lift the car up, and they know where to actually lift the car up as well without damaging anything. That covers the things that I do think are essential or good to have with regards to the exterior of the car. Obviously there are a million different things you can do, but I think at least you should consider these 5 things. Now let's move on to the interior, and in the interior my OCD shines through quite a bit in this video. Then let's start off again then with something with regards to protection, and that is a good set of rubber floor mats. The kit I did get do have a rubber mat in the front, the floor mats, and also the trunk, and also the sub trunk is rubber floor mats. And as you know, the Tesla have a lot of felt in these areas. Getting debris in that felt can sometimes be very problematic to remove, so having a good set of rubber floor mats will hinder things getting in there. And also, if you do live in a region where the climate is that you have winter, etc., it will prevent water and melting snow, etc., to get behind the rubber mats or soak down your felt mats, then that is. And what's important to consider with these rubber floor mats is obviously getting a good rubber material and also a high lip around the edges, so you prevent debris and water, etc., getting around the rubber mats. While we are on the subject of rubber mats and the trunk, I did get these inserts which do go into the pockets that we do have in the trunk. These areas are also covered in felt. The inserts here are in plastic or rubberized material, and I will store things that potentially might leak in these areas, and these will then obviously collect anything that potentially might leak because they are rubberized or plastic. We do also get these 2 covers which we can put on top, which will match the surrounding areas to get an OEM finish. So these type of inserts is something you can consider as well, depending on what you want to transport in your trunk then. The third thing I want to talk about again is about protection. My OCD is really shining through in this video, and that are screen protectors that I have then applied on the main screen and on the screen for the passengers in the back. The kit I did have a template for the larger screen. It was a super simple installation, no bubbles, etc. You just need to take your time and remove potentially any dust that might be on the screen before applying the film. The film I got, or the films I got, are in matte finish. The main reason for me getting matte finish is to reduce glare. Fingerprints will never show, more or less, which is a nice thing. Otherwise the screen is all smudged up when you have a gloss finish or no screen protector at all. The only downside with having a matte finish screen protector protector is that it will diminish the saturation of colors slightly and also the brightness. But I think, in my opinion, it is a good compromise to have in order not to have the glare and the fingerprints all over the screen then. The fourth thing I have got for my interior are these type of organizers, which do go in the center console in the front and below the armrest. These pockets are like black holes. You put stuff there and you'll never find them again. So I do highly recommend getting a set of organizers. Mine are covered in felt, so they do match these compartments, but there are rubberized one as well. Mine in the front do slide so I can get to stuff under it, and the rear one is more fixed, so I need to lift it up in order to get to stuff under it as such. Also, these kits do usually come with a rubberized insert for your cup holders that will give a more tight fit for your cups. But obviously also, if you do spill something, they will get collected in these inserts, which is a nice thing as well. In some kits, there are also some hidden compartments which are glued underside of the armrest with tape then for money or something. I don't know. I didn't see any need for that, so I did not opt for a kit that included that. So that is something you need to have a look for yourself if you would need it. But I would recommend getting a set of organizers for your interior. These are some of the things that I do think are essential and good to have. There are a billion different things you can buy for your Tesla Model 3. I'm actually quite overwhelmed with all the things that are available, and I haven't even mentioned splitters, spoilers, wheels, etc., as that is more of a personal preference. But one thing I do think you should consider if you do live in a warmer climate, and that is to get window tints and potentially also getting the glass roof tinted as well. If you do not want to tint the glass roof, there are shades that can be put on the interior to prevent from direct sunlight coming into the interior and therefore reducing the temperature in your cabin. In Sweden, I don't have that problem for more than like 2 weeks every year, so I haven't considered that, but I might still do window tint just from an appearance perspective, but we will see. One thing you might want to consider specifically if you do have the white interior, obviously for the black as well, is to get the faux leather and the areas covered in some sort of a coating. That will reduce the risk of getting any stains and also making the maintenance much more simple than down the road. That is all I have for today's video. If you did find it informational, give it a thumbs up. Do leave your questions, comments down below in the comments sections. Do remember to subscribe for future Tesla content, car reviews and tech stuff. But with that said, I'll be seeing you on the next one.